On October 2nd, Paul Vaden, light middleweight WF boxing champion and Patrick Henry alumni, came back to our school to give insight on his success to 9th and 10th graders. I was given a chance to interview him and asked about his high school experience as well as his journey as a professional boxer. All right, so how does it feel coming back to Henry after all this time?
You know, I was telling students that I saw this happening when I was their age. So this moment that has transpired today, I actually visualize this occurring. Me coming back to Patrick Henry at some time, someplace. It became 31 years later, but coming back as a champion, coming back as someone who has made a mark on not just in the world of sports, but human life, but coming back to support, send a message of inspiration, and share my story. So it's a great feeling to be back here, on this campus.
Cool. Good to hear. So in general, just what was your high school experience like?
It's beautiful. Here it was part of my evolution. I played basketball here. I was the team captain. I was known as Michael Jackson. I dressed like Michael Jackson. I wore everything authentic that he had. But underneath all that was an individual who was trying to crawl out to become a world champion and make a mark. And so that's pretty much what my journey of my high school career was like.
Okay, cool. So was there anything that you learned in high school that contributed to your success as a professional boxer?
Absolutely. First off, it gave me space to want to achieve. There are particular individuals, particular teachers that were here during that time that I don't even believe they didn't even know that they had an impact, because I didn't even tell people that I was a boxer back then. They just knew me as a basketball player and as Michael Jackson. A lot of people didn't know I boxed. I didn't talk about it. But they gave me words of support, fruits of wisdom that was impactful, that I was able to keep in my inventory as I started my journey in my course. So absolutely, there was specific episodes that came to positive light by the help of the administration here.
Oh, okay, cool. So what was the most impactful piece of advice you received during high school?
Be yourself. I see something, and there was an individual who reached out to me, a teacher, that saw something within me that told me to never change in what I was and what I was about. He just saw something in me, and actually pulled me aside to tell me that. And I never forgot that, and because of that, I took that and ran with that. And I think because of that, the impact, I stayed with that mindset.
Okay, so it just stuck with you.
Stuck with me because I never want to do anything like anyone else. In the moment that someone tells me that I'm doing something like Chuck, and I'm just using this name, if you remind me of Chuck or does something, then I'm immediately trying to make you forget that you said that I reminded you of Chuck.
You
so
want to be your own.
my own, whatever. I mean, I have two heroes that I kind of followed their path. Besides them, I was really following. I was creating my own pulse, my own rhythm of what I wanted to be and how I was seeing things.
Oh, okay. Who were your two heroes?
Muhammad Ali and Michael Jackson.
Okay. So how did you realize you wanted to become a boxer?
4 years old, I saw Muhammad Ali, and the impact and what I felt in my soul whenever I would see him. I would just become totally enthralled and wanted to mimic what he was doing. And it was then, at 4 years old, that I knew I wanted to be a world champion. In the third grade, I started at 8 years old, and in the third grade, my teacher, Mrs. Murchison's class, I made the declaration that I would become a world boxing champion. And so but Muhammad Ali is what drew me to boxing.
Did anybody in school doubt you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much what I talk to the kids about today. You're going to have people that are going to try to douse your shine, try to divert you from achieving your goals and tell you this against all odds type of methodology. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to show you what can be. And that's not just with kids, that's just with anyone. But specifically here, of course there were people that told me, and there were even parents from that standpoint, you know, what's your plan B? Which to me is the same thing as saying you're not going to perform or achieve plan A. So it's just a nice way of saying it.
So, since you were training for boxing during school, did it affect school at all?
No, because I could not box. I could not travel if that area, if I wasn't proficient in that area. So my parents they don't play, so they didn't play, and so that would not be allowed. And one thing I said to the kids is that I also, I mean, it was important that I was kind, nice. I mean, because I boxed, there's not one person that can say that they got into an altercation with me. There's not one person that could ever say that I was a bully. There was not anyone that can ever say that, you know, that I made usage of what I could do. As a matter of fact, my ability to restrain from potential confrontation is, I mean, I don't even think like that. So I don't know. I'm just a peaceful person, and so that to me that's what that's all about: of being peaceful and getting through this process, this journey.
Okay. So, in regards to your training, was there anything that you did to set yourself apart from other boxers? What was that?
Well, I mean, I always wanted to make sure that I was doing things when others were sleeping. I don't, to this day, I still don't sleep a lot. So I'm up at 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning running. And people used to ask me, they go, why are you running at 3, 4 in the morning when you could run at 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning? It's the same. And I said, no, it's not. I want to do things when they're inconvenient for you, not when it's convenient. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable. I've grown to this place where I'm very comfortable with being uncomfortable, and I work from that form. And so I think that's what helped me. Being on the ropes of life, being on the ropes in the ring, helped me to withstand and endure and overcome.
Okay, that's good. So before a fight, how would you deal with the nervousness that came before?
Yeah. Once again, I'm just up and I just think positive thoughts, focus, what can be, what's going to be. I don't sleep, meaning for whatever rhyme or reason, I always like to be up and just kind of process and focus and think about how I see this thing playing out. And for me, it's always a journey. So it's always like the beginning and the middle and the end process. It's not like, oh, it's going to be a quick knockout or whatever. It's always the process where I not only am I winning, but I have to overcome something. Maybe I'm hurt, maybe I'm behind, and I have to work my way back at one. Those are the things that you have those visual instincts. So that way, if something does happen like that, you've been there, you've seen that, and you go, okay, you recognize it, now let's overcome it.
Yeah. So in regards to being resilient and overcoming things, if you knew you were down on a scorecard, how would you keep yourself focused? And
I'm just a positive person. I believe that through dark clouds and through darkness and through testy times, that the sunshine is right around the corner. So if I keep going at it, if I stay repetitive, and if I stay disciplined, and I know who I am, and I know my skill set, and I know what I can do, eventually that's going to overwhelm what's before me. That's just my belief.
so just staying true to yourself.
Staying true to who I am, staying true to the process, believing in the process, knowing that the work's been done, and also, truthfully, knowing the talent. Eventually, that's going to overwhelm what's before me.
Okay. So, What influenced your decision to become a professional boxer rather than boxing the Olympics in 1992?
Yeah, good question. I was a little older. I was a team captain. I was a little older than my U.S. teammates, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley, Chris Bird. I was older than them, so I needed to get a jump start on my professional career. So remember, since 4 years old, my ultimate goal was to become a world boxing champion. That was my goal. It wasn't to be an Olympic champion; it was to be a world boxing champion. And so I needed to get a jump start. So that's what I did after the Goodwill Games in 1990. I turned pro and got started on there. So that's the reason why I made that choice.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on physical and mental health and how the two are connected?
In what sense?
In that if you're physically fit, then
Okay.
your mind is going to be...
Yeah, they work hand in hand. They work in concert. I can tell you so many people that are physically gifted in sports, life, and whatever, but they are extremely malnourished mentally, and because of that, it won't allow them to reach the course of their goals. And so they go hand in hand. The mental part is probably, I didn't really come to my true self as far as a performance level and my thinking process and where I can go and where I still am going until the mental capacity started to expand. The talent was always there, but it was when the mental focus started to come into play is where everything started to just come by design. I mean, so it's imperative.
All right. So with all the stuff that's going on nowadays with head trauma and CTE, what are your thoughts on that and how it goes with boxing?
Concerns me. Concerns me from a standpoint as far as others, and because I don't want there's so much to garner in this field. There's so much that I can tell you that I benefited from this journey of boxing and in athletics. That it hurts me, but listen, it's a hurt game. The human body wasn't meant to be hit on, and I'm glad that at least now it's getting noted that it's important, and that there are certain, specifically the NFL, how what they call it, the concussion protocol, things happen. So they're the amount of practice that they're doing, the pads, there's not as much hitting going on during between games, and like I said, just the concussion protocols. And I wish there was done a lot more as far as boxing, but even that being said, there is a lot that's being done. That I have friends who are going to specific places to deal with CTE and stuff, be it Las Vegas and what have you. So it's a shame. It's a story that I hate seeing, and I hate having to have this conversation with you about. But the realities are that for a lot of people, the game diminishes a lot of what they were, and that saddens me.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good.
Cool. Got everything?
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate
cool.
it. Thank
Cool.
you.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.